If you have increased your Google Ads budget but your cost per phone call also went up, then this video is for you. I'll explain why this can happen with Google Ads and what might change behind the scenes when budgets increase, and what you should check before spending more to help you better manage your cost per phone call as you scale. So let's get started. So guys, if you have been running Google Ads and if you increase your budget, the cost per phone call or cost per lead is increasing, then in this video, we're gonna see why it can happen and what we can do in this kind of situation. This is one of our example accounts, and as you can see in the last 30 days, we've generated 396 phone calls and the cost per conversion is around $27.31, and we've generated around 278 conversions. This number of conversions can include phone call related conversions as well as form submissions. So with phone call related conversions, we're trying to target unique phone calls. So as you can see, the number of phone calls here much more than this one. So we're trying to track unique number of phone calls, as well as certain phone calls might be, let's say, less than 5 seconds, less than 10 seconds. We might have missed phone calls. That's why we're trying not to include them here. And sometimes we might have form submissions, let's say less than 3% of the time, maybe less than 5% of the time, we might have some form submissions. But overall, the main goal of this account is to generate as many phone calls as possible. And you can see other metrics such as impression share as well. And why I'm showing this account, because I can mostly use this account as an example and see what we can do. And you can see more of these kind of examples where I've helped local service businesses to generate phone calls and form submissions. And to check more of these kind of case studies, you can also visit my website. So the first thing we need to check, do you really need higher budget to scale? Because let's say we're going to go to the campaign section, and certain campaigns might require higher budget, and certain campaigns, even if you increase their budget, they might not spend because they might not be enough traffic for your targeting settings, or with your current setup you may not be able to spend more. So if you're gonna see that, so from here, as you can see, the campaign statuses are eligible, which means if Google would require you to increase your budget, it should have limited by budget status, but you should be running your campaigns for some time. So let's say these campaigns are eligible and this limited by target. This means it is a bid strategy limitation. It doesn't mean you need to increase your budget. So if you're going to scroll down, with one campaign, it is asking to increase the budget. As you can see, limited by budget, which means you can increase the budget and you can get more ad spend, more clicks, more impressions. So if you're going to click on that, it is spending $35 per day. So if you're going to click on that, it is suggesting to increase the budget to $110 per day. So here you can increase your budget, but for other campaigns, it is not suggesting to increase the budget. So if you have this kind of status with your campaigns, then you can increase your budget. Otherwise, as you can see, our total budget is $690, but of course, we're not going to be spending that much. As you can see, we have spent $7,500 for the last 30 days for this account, and that means around $250 per day. It can be a little bit more than that, but not, of course, $690 per day, as you can see. Because even if you increase your budget, it doesn't mean you might spend all of that. Because of your current setup, you might not be able to spend all of that. A quick reminder, if you want to copy my exact Google Ads campaign structure for local service businesses to generate phone calls, I'm giving it away for free. You can use it as a blueprint or copy it into your own account. The link is in the description below. And the next thing is there really enough search volume to scale? Maybe you're trying to scale, but there might be limited demand and you're just increasing the budget, which means your cost per phone call or cost per lead might just increase for the same number of demand. So let's see that example with another account. So we're in the tools section. Under planning, we're going to go to keyword planner and we're going to click on discover new keywords. And here our target location is St. Petersburg as an example, and you can choose your own target location, and our population is under 1 million for this location, right? And you can put your own target location, and as an example, we're gonna put the locksmith industry, but it can be in any service industry, such as you might be electrician, you might be plumbing company, you might be locksmith, towing company. It doesn't matter. You can put your target keyword here and we can check the search volume. As you can see, for this location, we have 480 monthly search volume for just one keyword. And if you're going to target, like, let's say 4, 5, 6 keywords from here, it's going to be enough to spend for 1 month. But of course, you're not going to be targeting 4 or 5 keywords. You might be targeting like 100 plus, 200 plus keywords. And you're going to structure that accordingly, your ad groups and campaigns. But at least you can have keywords more than these. As you can see, we have enough search volume. But this is a generic keyword, as you can see. But if you target more specific keywords, such as, let's say, commercial locksmith, as you can see, the search volume is much lower now. 10 search volume per month, for example, for this specific highly relevant keyword. Or another one, 20, another one, 10. As you can see, these 3 keywords are relevant, but their search volume is much lower now. And you might have these kind of very specific keywords and you're trying to spend more for these kind of keywords, but you have limited demand for these kind of keywords. And if you spend more, your cost per conversion or your cost per phone call, cost per lead might be increasing. So another way would be to increase the demand. You can target the keywords which can provide more search volume, which means which can provide more demand. And at the same time, you should keep them relevant to your services and to your industry. For example, if we serve to all kinds of clients, for example, we can serve residential, commercial clients. Let's say we can just target the word locksmith rather than commercial locksmith or residential locksmith. And then if you increase the budget, then you might have more search volume for that. But of course, you need to be checking other setup as well, where you need to control your cost per phone call or cost per conversion. But with this way, you can increase the demand and you can increase the search volume, which means you can get more clicks and you can spend more. And the next thing on our list, did you recently increase the budget? Maybe you have increased your budget recently. Let's say you might be using some smart bidding strategies. And if you have recently increased the budget, let's say yesterday or 2 days ago, it might be in the learning period and your cost per phone call or cost per conversion might be higher temporarily. So let's say our daily budget was $30 and you have increased that to $60 recently. And our cost per conversion is around $45 now. But previously it might have been $25 or even $20. It can happen if you have just recently increased your budget, because increasing the budget, let's say 2 times, 3 times, is a big change and it might affect the learning period. So that's why make sure that you haven't increased your budget recently. Otherwise, it might be in the learning period. And the next thing, you might be hitting in auction saturation in your area. So let's say in our case, if you're gonna see that. So as you can see, we have been ranking number 1 in the impression share metric in the last 30 days. And maybe you might be reaching into auction saturation and you might be already showing your ads more than your competition. And maybe it might be close to 100%, or you might already be showing your ads more than all of these competitors in this area. And that could be another reason. And if you increase the budget more and more, instead of giving you more phone call with the same cost per phone call, it might be increasing the cost of each phone call. So you can check this metric as well. And the next thing on our list, you should check your impression share loss due to budget. So we're going to go to the campaign section and click on campaigns. So as you can see, search loss impression share budget. I've added that column. So you can go to the column section and add that column as well. As you can see, most of these campaigns have 0 search loss impression share budget, which means even if we increase the budget, it might not spend more. And we're close to our limits or 100% using our limits. As you can see, 0, it is almost 1%, 0, 0, it is almost 0. Only the last one which asked us to increase the budget, it is little over 5%. But otherwise, we're spending most of our budget, because as you saw, our total budget was $690, and that is why we were not spending $690. We're spending much lower than that. So you can check this metric as well. And if you have these kind of numbers, that means you might need to check your setup, and also you might be trying to spend more again for the limited demand. So that can be another reason. But otherwise, if you have room for spending more, that means you can increase your budget, but you need to increase your budget carefully, which we can also talk more in the coming section. And the next thing in our list, your bid strategy might be becoming more aggressive at higher spend levels. In the past, I was experiencing really high cost per conversion, and once I've made some changes with my bid strategies, my cost per conversion went down. So your bid strategy might be a problem as well. So let's say if you're using maximize conversions or maximize conversions target CPA, sometimes it might increase the average CPC numbers. So let's say if you are in the electrical industry, or if you are in the, let's say, mold removal industry, the cost per click numbers can be sometimes really high. So if it's on average $15, $18, the maximize conversions bid strategy might take it to $50, close to $60. And your overall cost per conversion can be really, really high. And that could be one of the reasons why spending more might be triggering your bid strategy to increase your CPC numbers. And with that way, your phone calls overall might be too expensive. So you can check your bid strategies as well. So if you are using smart bidding strategies, that could be happening, and you might consider using manual bidding strategies or maximize clicks, and then you can switch back to the smart bidding strategies again after some time. So that could be one of the reasons, and higher spend might be causing those smart bidding strategies to make the cost of your phone calls or form submissions too expensive. So another way would be, while using those bid strategies, you can optimize your campaigns as well. So after making some optimizations, like removing some unprofitable keywords or ad groups and focusing more on the profitable areas of your campaigns, you can improve your numbers. And that can be done with or without making any changes to your bid strategies. And that could be another point. And overall, you can consider this approach as well when doing your optimization. And especially when you are trying to increase your budget and your cost per phone call got more expensive. The last thing on our list, let's say you have increased your budget and your cost per phone call got more expensive. And after that, you can calculate, is it still profitable with that more expensive cost per phone call or cost per form submission? Even after getting more expensive, it is still profitable. You can keep spending more. Otherwise, if it's not profitable and it is worse than before, you can switch back to the old ad spend and start spending less, and that could also solve your problem as well. But with that way, you may not be able to scale, but at least you can go back to the previous daily spending and you might control your cost per phone call with that way. Again, these are some of the ways that you can consider using for your account. And again, if you guys want my campaign structure that I create for the accounts that I manage, you can get that for free. Or if you guys want my help to generate phone calls or form submissions to your business, you can also contact me as well. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching this video.